I think this is something that they couldn't come to terms with, that yes, they were popular, but they didn't have the position. And it's something that's happened to every single member of the royal family.
You wrote that Diana is the third wheel in Harry and Meghan's marriage. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, virtually, I don't think a day goes by where Harry doesn't either make a decision based on what happened to his mother or reflect on his mother. And, the fact that they first of all flew to Canada and then down to the West Coast was down to Harry's desire to protect his wife and his son. And as he said, he didn't want what happened to his mother to happen to his wife. And he was fearful of that. I mean, there's no way that until he's reconciled to what happened to his mother, I think that the anger issues that he's faced and the hostility that he has to the media will never go away.
Yeah. How do you think Diana would really feel about Harry's departure and the way that he's conducted himself since and the projects he's aligned himself with?
Well, I think she'd be doing cartwheels. She'd be thrilled. I mean, she was at her zenith as an independent humanitarian who'd left the royal family. She left the royal family, and she was visiting Angola. She was visiting Croatia. She was going to glamorous events in New York. She was spending half her time in America. And she was very focused on possibly living in America. And there was talk of her buying somewhere in Malibu. So seeing that Harry has made himself and Meghan independent humanitarians, irrespective of what the palace might say, she would have applauded that.
Yeah. You did say earlier that, listening to Meghan's interview and Harry's interview, it was very reminiscent of Diana. I mean, did it kind of take you back to, speaking with Diana at that time? Was that reminiscent?
Absolutely. The fact it was like deja vu all over again. It was the fact that Meghan was talking about her sense of isolation, the fact that she felt a prisoner in the palace, were virtually word for word what Diana had said to me. Mm-hmm. The fact that Diana went from fairy tale princess to a fiend and a monster, according to the gossips in Britain in the shortly after her wedding, and the fact that Meghan went from Duchess Dazzling to Duchess Difficult within a few short months. The fact that both of them had difficult pregnancies, both of them felt isolated and alone. It was remarkable. I found.
So there have been reports that William's alleged bullying contributed to Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family. Do you think there's any truth to that?
Well, both of them took the unprecedented step of saying that it wasn't true, and in an official statement. But there have been consistent reports saying that William was verbally bullying of Harry. I think that in a way, it was a contributory factor, but the main impetus was the fact that they felt they couldn't step back as senior royals and be, as it were, half in and half out of the royal family, and they had to make the full break. I mean, the irony is that Princess Elizabeth, before she became queen, very shortly after she married, went off to Malta for a couple of years with her husband, who was in the Royal Navy. So there was no pressure on Meghan and Harry to work their fingers to the bone for the royal family. They could have just established themselves as were as gently working members of the royal family, or even have gone abroad to Botswana or wherever he fancied, and done something else other than working for the royal family. They didn't have to do it. There was no pressure on them, but they wanted to pitch in, and that's what caused the issues.
Yeah. Do you?
And I think that the one thing that people have to appreciate is that inside the royal family, it doesn't matter how popular you are. It's down to your position in the line of succession. And Meghan and Harry came back from a very popular figures from Australia and the South Seas, but they were still always going to be number 2 and number 3 to Harry, to William, and then subsequently to George and Charlotte and Louis. And I think this is something that they couldn't come to terms with, that yes, they were popular, but they didn't have the position. And it's something that's happened to every single member of the royal family. I mean, Princess Margaret was once second in line to the throne. And when she was married to Tony Armstrong-Jones, Lord Snowdon, she and Tony Armstrong-Jones were the most glamorous couple on the planet, along with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. And, but it all was dissipated as Charles and Anne grew and developed and had their own publicity and, as it were, courts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think that, or do you know if Harry has any type of relationship now with William and Charles? Do you know if they're speaking at all, or is...
Well, if I was Prince Charles, I'd be looking for a pile of coats to hide under, because I think that the book that's going to come out next year is written by someone who spent a long time investigating father-son relationships, because he ghost wrote a book on Andre Agassi, who had a difficult relationship with his father. So I think we're going to see Charles once more in the firing line.
Interesting.
Yikes.
Do you know of anything?
So if I was Prince Charles, I'd be looking for a hard hat and a flak jacket.
Wow. Go ahead, Molly. Sorry.
No, you go ahead, Christina.
No, I mean, do you have any idea of what kind of revelations that might come forward in this book? No.
Well, I mean, he'll be talking about his army days. He'll be talking about how he got involved in the Invictus Games. I mean, the thing about Harry is that if you ask him a straight question, he'll give you a straight answer. Mm-hmm. So, and the book's written now. So, in the old days, there'd be a bunch of journalists trying to nick the manuscript.
So the book is written, and we'll get our hands on it soon.
Well, it's out next year, isn't it?
Yeah. So
in the meantime, you're going to have to make do with my.
Oh, well, I'm very happy with yours. I lots of information in this one too.